Welcome to the Mount Pleasant podcast, featuring discussions and interviews about the people, places, and events that make Mount Pleasant such a special place.
This is the Mount Pleasant podcast. I'm your host, Brian Cleary, and all thanks to the great people at Mount Pleasant Magazine, I get the honor, the privilege of introducing you to Mount Pleasant, the people who make it such a special place to do business, to work, and even to live. We're introducing you to Mount Pleasant's best on the Mount Pleasant podcast. We always do what we can to introduce you to interesting people across the Lowcountry. Today, no different on Mount Pleasant podcast. Introduce you to a family that has overcome adversity and is prosperous in giving back to our community. I'm Brian Cleary, and on Mount Pleasant podcast today, we welcome from the Isle of Palms, Jen and Josh McConnell, the McConnell family. McConnells, welcome.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
So McConnell Real Estate Partners is on the Isle of Palms. Why don't one of you step up? How is it that you two ended up living and working on the Isle of Palms?
Yeah, I took an overseas trip and Jim bought a house. So that's how we ended up here.
It's the typical American story.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, I did not see the house till we got here. No, I mean, Jen and I met in Charleston. First of all, so I think you probably know, but Jen and I are from the same town in Ohio, went to the same high school, but didn't know each other, and met when Jen was down here working for a custom home builder, and I was at Clemson and just taking a weekend here. So Charleston had always been special to us. It had always been somewhere where we wanted to come back to, even though we kind of did a circle around the state. We were here, then Greenville, then Lexington. And then when we had our firstborn, Bennett, it was basically before we even had her, we kind of decided this is where we wanted to raise the kids. And we're both beach people. And so the goal was always to get out to the beach. And we thought, how cool would it be, if our kids actually grew up on the beach, and they don't think it's very cool now as they get older, but we think it's cool. So,
and we try to show them our elementary school and our high school, like when we go back to Ohio, and they're just like, oh, this would be so fun. I'm like, you don't understand. Your elementary school's on the beach. Like, this is way cooler.
Because there's cows behind it. So they're fascinated by the cows. So that's how we ended up on Isle of Palms. And then Jen has always sold real estate. I mean, since her internship in college. I had always invested in real estate since freshman year of college. So it was always of interest, always something, even early on when we got married, that we talked about doing. And then just finally got the push to do it together. And then so it was always a goal. It was always a goal to do this. It just, we finally got the push to do it in 2019, back into 2019.
So Josh, being from Ohio, you weren't intimidated at all that the Lowcountry, we don't always, there's some complaints about Ohio people from time to time.
There's not a website or anything, is there?
No, not that I'm aware. I've never been on it.
That's why I always tell people I split my time between Utah and Ohio, and it kind of softens things. Or the Midwest, I just generalize it to the Midwest. And so, but yeah, I feel like it's lessening though to a degree. Like when I first got to Clemson, like it was a thing. Like too many of y'all are coming from Ohio,
yeah. And
like now I think everybody's from everywhere.
They're like, but the thing is now they're like, oh, you're from Ohio. Oh, everyone from Ohio is so nice. Like that's what I get all the time now. Instead of like, oh, another one, everyone's like, oh, y'all are so nice.
So McConnell Real Estate Partners, you guys are right now, you're in the easiest business in the world, right? Because you put a house up for sale. In 10 minutes, it's gone. Real estate is so easy these days. Maybe not?
Well, even in the last 2-3 weeks, that has shifted dramatically, to be honest with you. So now, listings are sitting. It's not as competitive as it was. We definitely are still very much in a deficit for inventory. But we are seeing houses come on and sitting for, a week or two. 14 days is pretty much the average now, where 3 was the average just a month or two ago.
And 14 is still fast.
And 14 is still very fast. Yes, yeah. Still very fast. But it's shifting and it's changing every single day. So, that's something that we definitely keep up on and make sure that our clients are taking advantage of the market in whatever stage it's in.
So Jen, you're the owner and broker in charge. Josh, the owner and chief operating officer. You guys work together. You live together. You have a family together. Everything's together. Talk a little bit about the dynamic of how a family is able to execute and have a successful business without being at each other's throat all the time?
Yeah, I think well, we like each other, but beyond that, I think the idea when we started doing this together was that we have very different skill sets and very different backgrounds, and that we would utilize that to support the whole. And so I will say, like, even though it's very much together, we do run in our own lanes. So it's not, we found like early on the first couple of months that we're not going to try to be the same person, because we have completely different skill sets, and it takes away from the business, and then it just isn't the most efficient path forward. So we really do kind of stay in our own lanes, even though it's very much together. And then we have the same vision and the same idea and the same principles, right, for what we want to do in life. And so, for us, working together has been just, kind of second nature, and it really hasn't affected us personally in any way. If anything, it's great. I think it builds a lot more respect, like when you're seeing what someone does day in and day out. And yeah, I think for us, it's been a good thing. We definitely understand how it's a challenge. And I think early on when we started, we had to find our lanes and figure out, and it took a couple months to get that. But then once we did, it's really started to grow.
Everyone's talking about real estate. The conversation continues with Voice for Real Estate podcast. Listen and learn from the experts who call the Carolinas home. Podcast advertising gives your business a voice of authority. Be heard. Advertise on this podcast. Visit voiceforrealestate.com.
You're listening to the Mount Pleasant podcast.
And Jen, McConnell Real Estate Partners, why would I want to deal with you guys specifically? Give me a good reason for somebody to go, those are the people I want to work with.
So first and foremost, is just our clients' best interest is always at the forefront, and what we can do to help them get to their next stage. We have clients who are buying their first home, buying their last home, selling a home where their parents just passed. We're in all different stages with our clients. And so that is really our priority, is giving them concierge level service, no matter what stage they're in. So the same person selling their 5 million homes and get the same marketing and same quality of service that someone buying their first condo is going to get. That's just really important to us and our agents. And obviously, it overflows to them as well. And just making sure that they are completely taken care of, and we take as much as we can off of our clients' plate. There's a lot to know in this industry, and we don't want our clients to miss something or not know something. And so we're going to take care of everything we can before they even think about it. So setting up their utilities before they even think they need to, and making sure they have everything lined up for inspections, and who's going to do those repairs if we do have inspections and repairs and things like that. So just really doing a concierge level boutique style brokerage has really just been our entire goal throughout having our brokerage.
And we've always run it. And so I come from the corporate side and a finance background, and we've always run it like a business, with the client experience being our biggest line item on the P&L. So it's always, I think, where we're different is there's an intentional focus and an intentional investment in the client experience. So I think there's just a little bit more to it. So I think early on when we were working with people, they were surprised at how much we were doing, just from a kind of on the side aspect of events and giveaways and everything that we would do. Like, I think when we bought the moving truck for clients, I think that was kind of a visual for people, where people were like, that's unique, or that's different. But there's always been an intentional investment and an intentional focus, where each year we outline how can we make the experience better for the client. And there's very much a deep focus on that.
This is where the pages of Mount Pleasant Magazine come alive. It's the Mount Pleasant Podcast. I'm Brian Cleary, joined by the owners of the McConnell Real Estate Partners. Jen and Josh McConnell are joining us. We talked a little bit about your work-life family balance. You guys were hit with some adversity early on in one of your child's lives, your son Bodhi, and all of a sudden your lives kind of went upside down because you were spending a lot of time at the MUSC Sean Jenkins Children's Hospital. Can you talk a little bit about what you went through with your son? And on the other side, we'll talk about all the good stuff that has come out of that.
Sure. So in December of 2017, I took Bodhi in. He was 5 months at the time. I took him in for just a cough to his regular pediatrician. and she had pressed on his stomach rather hard, which she told me later on she never would have done. But she felt something, and she was like, you know what, I'm not really sure what this is, but you should just run down to MUSC. I'm sure it's nothing. They'll do a quick ultrasound. You'll be in and out in no time. No big deal. So I did. So Bodhi and I ran down to MUSC. Josh was out of town. So I called him and I said, hey, can you pick up Bennett from daycare? We're just going to be down here for a little bit. No issues. And so when I got there, they did the ultrasound. And then they said, you said your husband's going back to town. I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, I think he needs to come here right away. And I was like, oh, crap. So your heart just sinks. And so we had someone else pick up Bennett, and he comes to the hospital. And then that's when they told us that he had cancer.
So from that diagnosis, you went through a period of time, obviously, where MUSC was at the heart of what you were doing. But I know there was a point where you were thinking, and I've talked to you about this, Josh, that maybe we're not going to be in South Carolina anymore because we want to go to where we can get our son the best treatment. Turned out that was here.
Yeah, I think that was honestly one of the first things, because it kind of builds up as you're in there. Like somebody says, oh, we need to talk to so-and-so. We need to talk to, because before they give you that news, they've consulted with like 4 different people who were not necessarily on location. So it takes a while to get there. But when we realized that's where it was going, that's what we started doing. We're like, we don't know a ton about St. Jude, but we know St. Jude is an entity in Memphis. Like, do we need to move to Memphis? And then started looking at New York, LA, and then just kind of, as we got more information about specifically neuroblastoma, it was his type, we had an expert in the doctor that we just met with. And so a huge comfort to us. It would have been a huge comfort if we were in Greenville, that it was just in South Carolina, right? But the fact that it's 20 minutes from our house just made it very, very easy. And it's not that easy for some people, but we were prepared to go wherever, for the best chance of success for him. And when you first hear it too, they said stage 3, and that sounds really bad, so it's right. Like we were kind of preparing for having to go somewhere. But then as she kind of explained how they define the stages with this particular case and everything, it just lined up that Charleston was the right place. And we just looked at it as a godsend that 2 years ago, I was prepared to quit my job, and Jen was going to start over in general brokerage in a brand new location in Charleston, because this is where we wanted to raise our family. I think there's all these little things that we think it's just God pointing us in the right direction. And that was one of them.
And the good news is Bodhi is doing fine now. How long were you in that process of treatments and going through all that before you were able to go, we're good?
So Bodhi started chemo in January of 2019, and then 2018, and then he was cured by his 10-month birthday. So April of that year, he was diagnosed cancer-free. So about 4 months. Friday. Yeah, Good Friday, actually. Yeah.
Wow. And out of that, you guys decided that you would give back to the hospital, really giving back to the community, and you created a foundation. What was the inspiration? What was it that clicked in you guys that said, we've got to do more?
Well, we started, right then. So when you're in the hospital and you're praying to God and you're promising things that, if you get out of this, you're going to do this. And so we, gave our word that we were going to do this. So we started immediately with the brokerage and with just our real estate sales business. That was kind of the catalyst to us working together. That was kind of what shoved me out of corporate America and into working as a team together, because that's how we thought we could best benefit the community and basically everyone. Everyone came up when Bodhi was sick, and like people we didn't know were showing up with food. And it was just super, super humbling. And we're like, how do we, pay everybody back? And so then it turned into, well, let's do a percentage of our revenue is going to go towards pediatric cancer research, and specifically it'll go to Bodhi's doctor who's doing some of the research. But then as we kind of put it out there that that's what we were doing, clients would come up and they would just try to hand us a check and say like, "Oh, here, it's for your cause." And I'm like, "You can't just you can just hand me a check." So I'm like, "We need to formalize this." So we started the process, and it takes a long time. It took 9 months, to get IRS approval. So we kind of started it tail end of 2020, and then 2021 became official, and then just had the first real major event with it. So it's that's kind of how it started, was just by people's philanthropy and just good
they're
nature.
so generous, and everyone wants to help, and it's the best way that we can do it, and we can do even more. So right now we just obviously donated a portion of our proceeds from the brokerage, but by having that separate foundation, we can do so much more, I feel like, and include more people, and just do a lot more for Dr. Rebecca in the lab.
But it is an instance where you're in that situation, and a lot of people will go, "Boy, if I get out of this situation, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z." And a lot of people, for whatever reason, and not always bad reasons, don't hit that marker. You guys, though, kept the pedal to the metal. What was it that really, because there's been some times, like you said, 9 months that you had to go through. There's the paperwork, there's the grind in putting together something that ultimately is going to help. Jen, what do you think it was that made you guys just go, no, we're going to make this happen? They helped my son, I'm going to give back.
I mean, honestly, we promised God we would do it when we were in the hospital. So when we're just go-getters, like when our mind is set, it's going to happen. Like it just was never a second guess. I guess it was not like
why do you eat breakfast? It was just something.
It's
mandatory.
There wasn't an option for us as far as we're concerned.
If you don't mind, could you talk a little bit about it? Because we mentioned the quality of MUSC Sean Jenkins Children's Hospital and the fact that you found the best here. Dr. Rebecca, what an amazing asset she is for our region and would turn out for everybody, because she's just an amazing individual, and her level of expertise in helping your son and other children has been just amazing. That has to be just such a sense of, I don't know if relief is the right word.
Yeah, they call her Angel Jackie because she literally is an angel on earth. She's just amazing. To have the researcher who's in the lab doing these trial drugs, doing these different combinations, to have her as your bedside doctor, I mean, I just can't imagine a better treatment. I think that we were blessed that she's here and that we were able to have her as Bodhi's oncologist, and she's amazing. She can help you understand it on our terms. She's the most brilliant person I've ever met, but she keeps it so that you understand it and you feel comfortable. She will sit there for hours if we have hours worth of questions. Like, she just is such an amazing person. I mean, it's amazing to be in her presence when we're with her. So.
And the foundation has had their first gala, so you've had your first big event. Josh, moving forward, what's your goal? What's your hope? What would you like to accomplish through the McConnell Foundation?
Well, the same thing. I think the foundation itself it's going to center around the one big event each year. So the hope is that we continue to grow that event and get the word out there. And it was a really big first year, kind of beyond what we expect. It was what we hoped, but beyond what we expected. And I think the heart of the people of Charleston surprises us in every instance. It surprised us, when Bodhi got his diagnosis, when we were going through it. And it surprises us the night of the event when it sells out the first year for the space that we got, that we were worried was too big, and so it's just really overwhelming, the amount of support. So really, I mean, the sky is the limit, I think, for that event and what it can do. And then obviously, we'll continue on the brokerage side with our piece too. And we set big goals around that each year as well. And when we meet with the team, that's kind of the first focus, and in our weekly meetings we talk about where are we to that goal. So it really is our focal point. But I think between both of them, it's really, in 2 years, it's pretty significant for us in our minds with what we've raised, and we're just excited about what can happen in the future, and we're just keep our foot on the pedal.
And Jen, if somebody wants to find out more information about your foundation, how can they learn more?
Sure. We have a website. It's themcconnellfoundation.com. And McConnell is McConnell. So themcconnellfoundation.com.
It's not the one in California.
Yeah, there is a McConnell Foundation in California. Someone sent money to them and they were like, I don't think this is ours.
Well, I'm sure the California people were happy for the donation. But yeah, if you're Google searching, make certain it's Isle of Palms. This is the Mount Pleasant Podcast. I'm Brian Cleary, joined today by the McConnell Real Estate Partners, Jen and Josh McConnell, residents of the IOP. So sell me. I'm thinking about buying a home. Why should I purchase a home on the Isle of Palms?
Oh my gosh, it's the best lifestyle ever. No matter what stage you're in, if you have young kids, it's perfect for families. I mean, we have a young family obviously on the island. You can golf cart everywhere you need to. If you're retiring, there's little pockets where it's nice and quiet. You won't have so many, friends all around and everything. It's just the best of everything. We have all the amenities that you need on the island. We have a resort if you want to go there. We have restaurants, shops, butcher shop, bank, church, like everything literally is here on our little island. And you have the most beautiful beach. So for me, there's just no other place that I would consider.
Yeah. We have Friday night pizza nights at the beach.
Every Friday, like all of our friends, we just like go to the beach and like hang out.
Yeah.
July 4th, we just go out on the beach and grab your lawn chairs and the kids have their little glow sticks and they just run around and your fireworks are right above your head and it's the most beautiful night ever. So
you've got family coming in from Ohio and you're going to take them out to eat. Where's the McConnell's favorite place to eat on the Isle of Palms?
Well, Islander 71 just opened, and that's kind of the hot spot. And I feel like in summer can get crowded out here, and that's a spot that not too many people outside of town know.
So if you guys are heading out to the beach, you're having pizza out there, you're just a day in the sun, what part of the beach is best for the McConnells on the IOP? So
we usually go to two main entrances because they're golf cart entrances. So your golf cart entrances are 25th. One of them is 25th and one of them is 42nd. We usually go to 25th. That's supposed to have the best surfing too. My kids like to surf now. So Josh takes them out surfing there, but we usually go to 25th. And if not, we'll go to 42nd, which has the blue mat that goes all the way out to the beach. So that's a little bit easier with kids too. So
Bodhi or Bennett, who's the better surfer of the two?
Bennett's super into it.
Bennett is very into it, yeah.
All right.
Bodhi is like more into like playing in the sand still right now, but he likes it, but just for a little bit, and then he wants to come in and play. So,
all right, I'm going to tap into your IOP expertise on one more question. It's a summer weekend, a Saturday, Sunday, lots of tourists in town. What's the secret if you live there and you need to get somewhere? You got to get around town. Give me a secret for the IOP weekends.
Electric bikes.
Yeah.
Electric bikes.
Like date night. Yeah. Get your electric bike and go over to Mount Pleasant, and you can just go right over to like Sullivan's and then go into Old Village. And yeah, electric bike, you'll get anywhere. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck.
Yeah. Golf cart is the in between. So golf cart can do a little bit more than the cars. And also a lot of people, don't know that there's more than just Palm Boulevard. So a lot of people are just, bottlenecked on Palm. But the electric bike absolutely can get you in and out of traffic out here on the weekend.
So one more thing, we'll put back on your McConnell Real Estate Partners hat for a second. Where's the market going? We've seen it heat up. Is it cooling down now? Put on your genie hat and give us a projection over the next year or so. Where do you think we'll be real estate wise?
I mean, we'll still be in a seller's market, we believe. It has to balance, at some point. Like it can't be where we have to run to a house in 15 minutes and the client has 10 minutes to decide only if they have cash. It's like it has to balance at some point. And so it's starting to a degree, like where it looks like it bottomed and now it's moving, where Jen mentioned now we have a couple weeks versus 3 days. And honestly, the 3 days was probably inflated because people were choosing to be on for 3 days. So inventory position is improving, but Charleston is still a very in-demand market, right? There's a lot of reasons to love where we live. And I think the country realizes that, and the more magazines that decide to rank us and things, the more people realize it. And the more people come, we still get people from all over. I mean, from all over, from New England, from Mid-Atlantic, from out west. So Charleston's still very much in demand.
And if people are interested in finding out more about the McConnell Real Estate Partners, I'm sure you got a website. Where can we direct them to go?
chsestates.com. So the abbreviation for Charleston, CHS Estates.
And for anybody interested in terms of your son, Bodhi, and I know everybody, he is out of the woods. he's good to go. Sometimes we're not sure. What's his status these days?
So he's cured, which was a word that whenever we heard that he could be cured, we were like, are you sure? We thought it was remission. Like, are you really sure you can say that? And Dr. Rebecca is, of course, very careful whenever she would talk to us. She's like, oh, no, this is curable. And to, on that Good Friday, he was diagnosed cancer-free. So he is cured. His scans have been great. From what we can tell so far, we don't really see any side effects from the chemo he was on. He is a long-haired, bleach blonde hair, beachy boy, and he's great. He's doing well.
And now it's down to basically a once a year come in and just a basic check. We don't have scans anymore. It's very simple. And now as much as I think they just want to see him more than check him out.
Yeah.
So,
I'm like, he has a cough. Like, you can go to the ER, but just come to us instead. Like, okay.
That's a great place to be. Well, cured is a great word. And in 2023, I'm sure it'll be one of the events of the year. Do we have any idea of a date for the second annual McConnell Foundation Gala?
So I'm looking for September, just because September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. So I feel like that would be great. And then it's probably going to be a little bit cooler time of the year. June was pretty hot this year for our gala. But I am still looking for a venue. So if you know of any venues that I could consider, at least 200 people for a sit down. I'm having a little trouble finding a place. So if anyone knows of anything, I would appreciate it.
McConnell Real Estate Partners on the Isle of Palms. They are the founders of the McConnell Foundation as well, doing amazing work to give back to the community here, specifically at the MUSC Sean Jenkins Children's Hospital. You'll find them in the pages of Mount Pleasant Magazine, and we appreciate Jen and Josh McConnell's time today. It's Mount Pleasant Podcast. I'm Brian Cleary. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for spending your time with the Mount Pleasant Podcast. Your community, your podcast. Listen to past and future episodes at mountpleasantpodcast.com.